In this video, we're going to talk about the AccuDraw shortcut keyins and some examples of how they can be utilized in a MicroStation drawing or in MoDOT production. Of course, to get to your AccuDraw dialog, we click on this little icon right here that says Toggle AccuDraw. It brings up the AccuDraw box. One of the shortcut keyins is the spacebar, where it toggles it from the XY mode or rectangular mode to the polar mode. So if I come in here, make sure my AccuDraw is highlighted by clicking on the banner at the top here and hit the spacebar on the keyboard, you'll see a little pop-up confirmation that shows up and it triggers it to the other mode. So if I hit the spacebar again, that's one of the shortcut keyins, is the spacebar. Allows you to toggle up from the rectangular mode to the polar mode. Another one is the smart lock. So let's say I'm wanting to draw maybe a line just in the X direction. I don't want to go in the Y direction. I'll left click to start my line, and I'm just going to arbitrarily select out here. Pull it in the direction that I want to go, which is the X direction. And if I hit the enter key on the keyboard, it locks out the other value, which will lock out the Y. So if I pull it into my Y direction, it does not go in my Y direction. It just goes in the X direction. Now I can go to whatever point that I want to go to, either by typing in a number, or maybe I want to stop it at a certain endpoint, maybe right here. I can left click and snap to that point, and it drops off that line. Or if I want to go in the Y direction, just in the Y direction, I'll left click to start my line, I'll pull it in my Y direction, hit the enter key on my keyboard, and now it's just going to go in the Y direction, whether I want to go up or down. So that's what the smart lock allows you to do. It allows you to lock it just in the direction that you want to go, whether it's the X direction or the Y direction. I'm going to go ahead and delete out those two lines there. Or another example of that, let's say I want to move something. Let's say I want to move maybe this tree right here. I can select it. Let's say I just want to move it in the X direction, 70 foot. Pull it over in the direction that I want to go, hit the enter key, locks out my Y value, so now I'm just going in my X direction. Now I just pull it in the direction that I want to go, type in that value, left click to drop it off, and I'm finished. Kind of another example of using that. Another one of the keyins is your X and your Y button on your keyboard. So let's say we're coming out here and I'm drawing a line, and for whatever reason, maybe I want my Y value to be that value right now. Well, I can come in here, and if I click the Y button on my keyboard, it actually locks it to that value. So now I'm just going up 9.1217 feet. Now I can pull it in my X direction or whatever. So that's another thing that you can do on your keyboard that you can utilize. Or if I just want to go, maybe this is the value that I want to go in my X direction, I just hit the X key on my keyboard. It locks in whatever value is inside that box at that current time. Just like what I have right there. So that's what the X and Y keys on your keyboard does if you click on it whenever you're within AccuDraw. It locks in whatever value is inside that box right whenever you select that particular key. Another one of the shortcut keyins is the RQ, which stands for rotate quick. Whenever we try to draw a line or use your AccuDraw right now, I use my place line tool or the smart line tool, you see that our compass is oriented with the view. Well, there may be certain times where maybe you need to move something to go along a certain alignment. Take for instance like this entrance right here. Let's say we need to move it maybe up the road or down the road or whatever. Let's say we need to move it maybe 70 feet. Well, if I come in here right now, and I'm going to use my element selection tool, and I'm just going to go through here and select these items because I want to move them. and I have those items selected. Let's say I need to move this up along this shoulder here. Let's say I need to move it up 70 feet. Well, I could come in here and I'll go ahead and select my move tool, either in my main tool palette here or in my construction tool palette. And if I use my move tool right now in conjunction with AccuDraw, if I come in here and I select maybe a certain point, and I'm going to go ahead and select maybe the intersection of where this right here ties into the shoulder, I can either probably select it right here, or I can select it right here, because I'm going to move it along this particular shoulder. So I'll just use my intersection snap. I'll get close to it, snaps to it. I'll left click to accept it. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom out now. But as I'm using my AccuDraw right now, if I pull it in my X direction and I type in 70 foot, it's not going to be tied to the shoulder anymore because it's not going along that shoulder. You're just doing it in the X direction with the compass, or with the how your compass is oriented with the view right now. What you can do for a one-time shot is do an RQ for rotate quick. And you can actually follow along a certain line or maybe 2 points to move something or copy something or do whatever for a one-time shot. And to do that, all you need to do is come in here, make sure your AccuDraw is highlighted, and on your keyboard type in RQ. And what this will do is bring up a little dialog box that says rotate AccuDraw axis. Now as you move your mouse around, you're going to see that you can rotate your axis depending on what direction that you want to go. So you can actually make your Y direction or your X direction different for like a one-time shot. And for this example here, I want to follow it along this particular shoulder. So I'm just going to go through here and snap somewhere on this shoulder. Maybe like right here. I'll snap to it, and now you'll see that your compass is rotated now. You've actually oriented that compass to go along that shoulder. So that's basically kind of like your temporary Y and your temporary X axis for this operation that you're doing. So now if you pull it up in the temporary X direction, you'll see that's going to follow along that shoulder because that's what you identified. You identified this point right here and this point right here. Now I can pull it up in my temporary X direction, and I'll type in whatever value that I want to move this particular entrance. I'll type in 70. I'll left click to accept it. I don't want to move it up or down, so I'll make sure it's locked, just like what I have right here. I'll accept it, and now we're finished. Now if I right click to reset the tool, now I'm going to go ahead and clear out my selection set. Now we're done. So now if I come back in here and I use my place line tool or my copy tool with AccuDraw, now you'll see that your compass is rotated back to the way it was before with the view. So that's what the RQ can allow you to do. Rotate quick. Allows you to rotate your compass for like a one-time shot to maybe move something or do whatever operation that you want to do. Another shortcut key that you can utilize is T and V. T for top, V for view. An example of using that is maybe placing your north arrow on your sheets. If I come in here right now, and I'm just going to go to my design, pull down, go to my user design file, settings manager, come down through here and select the one that says symbols and patterns. I'm going to go ahead and select my north arrow. You'll see my north arrow is out here right now. The active angle is 0, so I can come out here and I can left click to place it, and I'm finished. But that necessarily may not be due north. So what you can do inside here is to make sure your AccuDraw is out here somewhere. Come back in here and select the north arrow, highlight your AccuDraw box, and on your keyboard type in the letter T for top. And now whenever you place that north arrow, this will actually be oriented due north from how this sheet was created. So I'll left click to drop it off, right click to reset the tool, and I'm finished. Because most of your sheets, that whenever you create them, usually you have an alignment that you're going through, depending on how big or how small the job is, and then you cut your sheets along that particular alignment, and then they get outputted to separate sheets. So due north is not going to be straight up and down all the time. Actually, very rarely will it be up and down. It's always going to be rotated depending on how that sheet was cut out from that master alignment. So that's where you can use the letter T on your AccuDraw to place that north arrow, and it'll actually be oriented dead due north. Now if you come back in here and use another tool, whether it's the place line tool or some other tool in conjunction with AccuDraw, you'll still see that your compass is oriented to the top. So what you need to do is come back on your keyboard and click the letter V for view, and it will rotate your compass back to where it's squared up with your view. Just like what I did there. T for top, V for view. And now it's oriented back to your view that you have currently opened up. So now you can draw whatever you need to do in conjunction with your AccuDraw settings. So that's another one of the shortcut keyins that you can utilize inside AccuDraw. Now of course there's probably many other situations that come into effect of using your shortcut keyins that are out there. I'm not going to show you every example because I'm going to leave that up to you depending on how you want to use the shortcut keyins in production. I can't show every single situation, that's virtually impossible. But this at least gives you a couple examples of how some of those shortcut keyins work and maybe how you could utilize some of those in production. And of course, if you want to see all the shortcut keyins, simply go back to your settings pull down, go to AccuDraw, the display tab, and then click on the shortcut keyins, and this will show you all the shortcut keyins that you can utilize.